Hey guys, Chad here with worshiptoolkit.com, and today I want to show you a video on how to create a training MP3 from Multiracks that you may have purchased from multitracks.com or Loop Community. Any of the guys on the web, they all have really great multitracks that we're using for live worship, but you may not have known that you could create training DVDs to show your musicians how to play specific parts. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go into the folder that you have your stems saved. Mine are held in the Ableton folder. Inside this, there's where all of mine are saved. We're going to go to Our God by Chris Tomlin. Inside that is a folder called Samples. And we're going to import it. There are all of my stems. These are all of the original files from the original recording. And then I would just select all of them and drag them in. I've already done that because it takes a little bit of time for them to all buffer so that we could move on with the video. I've already done that part for you. And I've also created a vocal track. This is not a super amazing vocal track. It's just a scratch track to give my guys a place to land so they know where we are in the song. I wasn't trying to be super awesome with it. I just picked one of this default settings out of Logic. I'm using Logic Pro X. You could use any digital audio workstation that you like. Ableton's fine. You could use that as well. Just use the same kinds of concepts. GarageBand even works for this, so any of these work just fine. So you want to just drag them all in. I've created my vocal track. Here are all of my stems. I've lined them up the way that I want. And for this particular MP3, I want to take these 5 synth tracks and create this training MP3. So the first thing that I'm going to do is select all of my tracks except the ones that I want to focus on. So here are all of my other tracks, and I'm going to send them to a different bus. Normally they are sent to the stereo out, and I'm going to send them to bus 1. My synths I'm going to send to bus number 2. That's actually already done for me here. Here's aux or bus 1 and bus 2, and they go to the stereo out, so I'm still accomplishing pretty much the same thing that I wanted to accomplish. And the next thing that I need to do after I've sent them to different buses or different auxes is separate these two auxes. So let's just grab our pan knobs here. We're going to send this one to the left. Let's send this one to the right. We're going to send our synths to the right. Now that we've got them panned left and right, obviously not all the way. I could have gone further. Could have gone all the way, but I didn't want to quite do that. I wanted to give it a little bit of a sense of where you were, so I did about 3/4 of the way. Panned both of them, but if I play this, you're not going to be able to hear this very well in your area where you are on the video, but if I play these, you'll see that I'm peaking pretty hard with this audio track. That's the way that they're balanced from the factory, but they're not exactly, they're peaking on me. So what I want to do is go ahead and reduce the volume of these tracks a little bit so that I'm not quite peaking quite so bad. Let's see how we're doing now. Yeah, this is doing a lot better. So now I've found a little bit better of a balance. Again, this aux 2 is my synth track that I'm trying to create a training for, and these are all of the rest of the other tracks. So now I've got a little bit of a balance. The synth is a little louder than the rest of our tracks, but it still works for us. I wish you could hear it, but I just take my word for it, it sounds good. And then all we need to do at that point is to bounce it and share it. And what I've done is created a training MP3 that shows my synth players, my musicians, how to play the synth parts for this song with a little bit more clarity than is in the original soundtrack or the original MP3 from the CD, from the album. And now I've got something that I can use to train them. Hey, this is what the synths are supposed to sound like. We've layered 5 different things, and this is kind of what you need to sound like. And they can practice with this back and forth. As you can notice, I left the click and the guide in there so they could check those things out, hear them in the multi-track. But this is just a simple way that you can create a multi-track training MP3 from the multi-tracks that you've purchased. Obviously, you could go back and create different ones for your electric players or some of your vocalists if you needed to do that as well. But this is just a simple way to show your musicians really what you want them to sound like, what they can, the kinds of sounds that they should be making for the different songs that you're creating. Any of your multi-tracks should be able to do this with some level of ease. It shouldn't be too difficult with any of the multitracks that you've purchased, whether you're using, again, multitracks.com or Loop Community, or even if you're using something like Band in Hand on your iPad or something like that. I know Loop Community just came out with their own iPad app. So if you're trying one of those things, why don't you try to pan these things and then record what's coming out of the headphone jack there, so that you have a training MP3 to show your musicians. I think you'll find this to be a really useful tool going forward to use with your multitracks, with your musicians. Show them what you want. Give them every tool that you can to show them what you want them to sound like and what they can do for the glory of God. Again, this is Chad with worshiptoolkit.com. Hope you had a great time with this video. I hope you were able to use it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Okay? Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.